there's no one right way to do this, to write an essay. All you're doing is expressing something that you felt, something you've dealt with, and how you are able to put that into words is the best way that I would say I went about it. I don't know if any of the other three want to touch on that, but I do think storytelling worked for me, where the beginning, I tried to hook the reader. What's going on with this child? Why is she sweating? What in the world? And then all of a sudden, it's just she's scared to read in class. So I think I was able to hook the admissions officer by completely shocking them that it's not a horror movie. I wasn't about to die. I was just scared. So I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything on their essay or any sums up of the essay process. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I got when I was in high school, about to write my essay and then writing my essay, and I think what you saw in all four of our essays was being vulnerable and actually show or using your voice within your essay. But I think the first point, which is being vulnerable, is very, very important because some of you guys might think this. I know I definitely thought it, as a junior and senior in high school, is that I need to write an essay that they're gonna like, right? And you get like so trapped and like imprisonated by trying to conform to what you think they might want to read, that you actually don't end up making your essay authentic, or use your voice, and you're not really that vulnerable because you might think, if I'm vulnerable, then maybe they see a weakness. I would suggest to do the opposite of that and share, your feelings, your voice, your experiences, yada, yada, yada. So real quick, I'll share like a quick story. My Common App essay that I just read, that wasn't my original Common App essay. And I see Neelam pointing too. So I wrote an essay before that. And it was good, but it was still missing something. And I showed it to my mom, showed it to my English teachers, and they were like, this is good, but I think it was really my mom that was like, you can do a little bit better. So actually, and I'm not saying that you guys have to do this, but there was a day I came home from school and I like locked myself in my room, control A my whole essay, and pressed delete. And so I basically started from zero, started from scratch. And for the next 3 hours, I wrote what I just read to you guys. So 2 points: one, be vulnerable, and two, it's okay to start over. I did it. I'm sure a lot of other people have done it too. So if you're writing something, you just don't feel like it's okay to scratch it and start over. So
I definitely agree with that. I do think on top of that, it's so important to make sure you don't have a ton of people read your essay, because then you might start losing yourself when everybody's like, I think you should change that. That's not good. That's not good. So I would suggest having a few people that you're really comfortable with. I had one English teacher and then my family members read it. But other than that, I wanted to keep it to myself. I wanted to make sure that was actually what I wanted to talk about and not a ton of different people's suggestions. So that's another tip that I would give.
Yeah, going off of Dom's point, I think and also Addis's point, I mean, much like Addis, I think I wrote two other completely different essays, and I just kind of compared them back and forth and realized that this one that I showed to you guys was the most me. But I do think if you show it to a bunch of people, your message can definitely start to be either watered down or edited down if you let too many people kind of go through the editing process on it. So what I'd recommend on that front is finding a few close people that you really trust. And also on the point of vulnerability, I think that I have heard of some friends who have had some amazing Common App essays that tackle subject matter that maybe their parents they don't feel comfortable with their parents seeing. Maybe it's about their identity and different things like that. So I'd recommend just finding people that are close to you. So it can be a best friend even who knows you well, an English teacher if you have that type of relationship with your English teacher that you feel comfortable with in editing, even a school guidance counselor. It doesn't always have to be your parents, right? But finding those people you really trust to kind of understand after a first read, is this authentic? because I think the authenticity part is crucial. Even though an admissions officer has never necessarily met you in person at that point, they can kind of tell when someone's putting on a front in an essay and trying to look perfect, or maybe like kind of fake an event or something. I mean, I've heard of that happening before, and it's definitely not ideal. So yeah, definitely just remain true to yourself when it comes to writing the essay, because I think that's how it would be the strongest.
Yeah, definitely. And I like on that too, I think like um I think a lot of people think a lot something that a lot of people struggle with is like maybe like trying to like put like every single one of their accomplishments or something in the essay. And I think like it's definitely important to like maybe pick like the ones that are like the most meaningful to you to like include in that. But you do also have like a resume section where you can like, you know, list everything. But if you really focus on the things that I guess were like most meaningful and related to the authenticity of the essay, I think that it comes across like the most powerful. And then also for just like a basic tip, like when I was writing my essays, I started off with having like a couple different like brainstorming. So I brainstormed like 5 different topics or something like that, and just kind of like free wrote about them. And I think what led me to pick the version that I went with was actually just like the ease of like how quickly I was able to just like write it almost, or like how much that I felt like I had to say about a topic. So I think that could be like one potential like way for just getting started is like having like a bunch of different ideas and then seeing which one feels the most like you.
Awesome. Cool. So I do see some questions, but I think what I'm going to have us do is keep going through the slides and then come back to these questions when it's more just general body feeling than a slide show like in the middle. But keep sending questions if you have some. We're definitely going to touch on them. Okay, awesome. So with the supplements, we aren't going to be reading our supplements because we just read a ton to you, but just giving some advice on the best way to go about the supplements. Me first, I applied to a lot of schools. So I did a lot of supplements, and I think it's very important, even though that a supplement might be max 20 words, to spend time. You have 20 words to impress. So it doesn't mean, oh, this is the easy part. I think the supplements were harder than the essays, to be honest. So I definitely think using your time to make sure you're using the best 20 words you can for this is the first great approach that I would give out. If so, we can keep going around if you guys want to just throw out different ideas you have.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely say that like I wrote a lot of supplements. So I applied to Yale early, and Dawn mentioned this when we talked before, but like Yale has a lot of supplements, and as much as I wish they didn't matter, I do think the supplements really count for Yale because they ask so many. It's really like your opportunity to show off your personality to the admissions officers. And then I also applied regular decision to a number of schools as well. And I think a good way to think about supplements is before you start writing them, look at the rest of your application holistically, and then look at what the supplement questions are asking and think, okay, what about myself have I not expressed yet? And see if you can find a way, if you think that's important, to put it into the supplement. And then on top of that, a lot of supplements are specifically about like, why are you interested in this school? To those questions, I'd say do your research. And they say that at like, you know, there's like admissions meetings and stuff like that they stream or like hold in person. But I think the research there really does count. And I think my biggest tip for those personal questions where it's like, say, why Yale, why Columbia, why Georgetown, why any school, I would say try to connect the things that you find interesting about that school that you wouldn't just be able to find on a website to yourself. So I don't remember exactly what I wrote about in my sort of like why Yale supplement, but I remember finding like very specific things about the campus that I loved. And also like programs that they offer, like whether it might be like a major or minor, or like a course or a professor. And then I connected that with my specific interests and experiences that I have already like expressed somewhere else in my application. So make it personal to you. And then like Dom said, like spend time. I know supplements look short and they look cute. They look like it can take you 10 minutes before you submit. That's not true. If you do that, it will be a lot more rough. Like I think it's so concise and succinct that it's important to pick the most powerful combination of words that you can to sum up who you are. And don't be afraid to show off your personality. Like, there's more to you than what you can express in a Common App essay. Feel free to have a little bit of fun with the supplements. I know, like, one of the Yale ones used to be like, what would you bring to your like dorm room? And it could mean anything from personality to objects. And I said I'd bring an abundance of Christmas lights because I really freaking love Christmas. And like, I will bring that actually. And then I tied it to some other things. So yeah, have fun with it, but also like do your research, spend your time on it.
Yeah. And I would say too, kind of to go off of what you just said about the objects, where a Columbia supplement asks how many books or what books we've read this year. And I don't really read, as you guys know, I'm more of a recorder. So I prefer like videos. So I straight up said, I don't really read that much. And I ended up not getting in. So maybe it didn't work, but I do think it's very important to tell the truth, because if you lie on your supplements, your essay, then you might get accepted to a school that actually is not the best for you. That they're probably trying to get a certain type of student, that's not where you would be the happiest and succeed the best. So I would suggest to always tell the truth, even if it's not the best answer. You can exaggerate your truth, but I wouldn't completely come up with something random and new, because you want to go to a school that actually works for you and that wants you.
Yeah, 100%. I would say.
Go ahead. You're good.
Oh yeah, 100% agree with that. And then also, I honestly didn't do too many supplements because like after I got in early action, I was kind of like I'm I'm done with like applying. But for like one approach that I did take, I did apply to the UC system, and there's like 5 mini essays which kind of felt like supplements. And like one way that I tackled that, and also the supplements for Harvard, were just kind of like expanding, like working with the prompts, like trying to expand on some of the I guess extracurricular interests that I didn't get to like fully expand on in my like Common App essay. So that I use those kind of like as opportunities to add in like more, to give more like context behind the just like one line on a resume or something like that.